Have you ever wondered what your life was meant to be? Have you ever wondered what effect your death would have on others? As Mary's Queen of Scots, I had 19 long years in captivity to ponder these two questions. All to look at my mistakes and my wrong decisions that created the dramatic life that I lived. I was known as Romantic Queen. Now, first of all, I was born to rule. At 5 days old, my father died, and I was the Queen of Scotland. Then I was sent to France to be educated at the French court. My mother had been French. She was my regent in my absence. While I was in France, I married the king's son, and the king was killed. So I became Queen of France too. Then I was second in line to be the Queen of England. Now how's that for a beginning? So then things began to change. My husband died, my mother died, so I was forced to go back to Scotland. Now, after the luxury and the wealth of the French court, Scotland was pretty cold and dry. But let me tell you first a little about me personally. I was 5'11", considered elegant and beautiful, witty and charming, well educated. I was a horsewoman and a golfer, as some of you men might appreciate here. I actually played golf at St. Andrews. All right, so then when I began to rule, I was a good ruler. I cared about my people, highborn and lowborn. And I was tolerant of the Protestants, even though I was a Catholic. But the big problem I ran into was Queen Elizabeth I. I was a major threat to her because her father was Henry VIII and her mother Anne Boleyn, and their marriage was never considered legitimate by the Catholics. So there was always a plot to get rid of her. And of course, I felt I should be Queen of England too, of the town on the greedy side, don't you think? So anyway, I was now back in Scotland, and I was a widow when I was 18. So people became concerned about who I was going to marry, and Elizabeth especially. She didn't want me to marry some powerful, strong foreign prince who could help me raise an army to overthrow her. She offered me Lord Dudley, who was actually her lover. Now, Elizabeth was very strong politically. She cared about being queen. And as she said once to me, if you had as much head as you had heart, you'd be queen instead of I. Because I always thought with my emotions, not with my head. Anyway, this gentleman didn't want to be married to me. I didn't want to be married to him. He didn't want to go to Scotland, so that ended that. I found my own